The room was quiet in a way that felt careful, as if even the air did not want to make a sound. Soft lights hung above the small stage, glowing warmly, not too bright and not too dim. Rows of seats stretched out into the darkness, slowly filling with people who carried their own stories, their own tired hearts, and their own hopes. On the stage stood a simple microphone stand, a wooden stool, and 2 glasses of water. Nothing more was needed. Michael stood just behind the curtain, holding his daughter's hand. His fingers were large and rough from years of work, while hers were small and thin, wrapped gently around his. Emily leaned slightly against him, her head resting against his arm. Her hair was short now, soft and uneven, a reminder of months spent in hospitals and quiet rooms. She wore a pale blue dress, chosen carefully that morning because it made her feel brave. They listened to the low murmur of the audience. Michael took a slow breath, then another. He had sung before, but never like this. Never with so much weight in his chest. Emily looked up at him, her eyes calm and steady. "Are you ready, Dad?" she asked softly. Michael smiled, though his eyes were wet. "I'm ready if you are." She nodded. "I want to do this together." That was how it had always been. Together. Their story did not begin on a stage. It began years earlier in a small house with white walls and a backyard where the grass always grew too fast. Emily had been a lively child, always singing while she brushed her teeth or danced in the living room. Music followed her everywhere. Michael noticed it early on. He would come home from work tired and worn, and hear her voice floating down the hallway. It made the long days feel lighter. They sang together often, sometimes in the car, sometimes in the kitchen while dinner cooked, sometimes just sitting on the edge of Emily's bed before sleep. Music was their shared language. It was how they said things that felt too big for words. Then one afternoon, everything changed. Emily had been feeling tired for weeks. At first, Michael thought it was just school and growing pains. But then came the doctor visits, the tests, and the long silence in a small white room. The doctor's voice was gentle but serious. "Cancer." The word felt heavy, like it pressed the air out of Michael's lungs. Emily did not cry right away. She sat quietly, listening. Later, in the car, she asked one simple question. "Am I still allowed to sing?" Michael laughed through tears and said, "You can sing as much as you want." The days that followed were slow and strange. Hospital halls replaced playgrounds. Machines beeped softly through the night. Emily learned new words she never wanted to know. Michael learned how to be strong in ways he had never imagined. He slept in a chair beside her bed, holding her hand when the pain came and humming songs when she could not sleep. Music became more than comfort. It became a bridge back to normal life. On good days, Emily sang softly, her voice thinner but still clear. On hard days, Michael sang to her, even when his voice shook. They chose gentle songs, songs about hope, love, and staying together. One evening, after a long treatment, Emily looked at her father with a small smile. "Dad," she said, "what if we sing somewhere big someday?" Michael brushed her hair back carefully. "Anywhere you want." The idea grew quietly, like a seed. Nurses heard them singing and paused to listen. Other patients smiled when Emily's voice drifted down the hall. Someone suggested a small local event. Then someone else suggested something bigger. Eventually, they were invited to share their song on a stage, together. Now, that moment had arrived. The stage manager gave them a nod. Michael and Emily stepped forward into the light. The audience grew still. Michael adjusted the microphone, then pulled a second one closer for Emily. She stood on the stool so she could reach comfortably. For a moment, they simply stood there, breathing. Michael spoke first. His voice was calm but carried emotion. "My name is Michael. This is my daughter, Emily. We love to sing together." Emily looked out at the crowd. She could not see every face, but she could feel them. "This song helped us when things were scary," she said. "We hope it helps you too." The music began, slow and soft. Just a simple melody. Michael started the first verse, his voice low and steady. He sang about holding on, about walking through the dark without letting go of the light. Each word was clear, shaped by experience rather than practice. Emily joined him gently on the chorus. Her voice was quiet but pure. It did not try to be loud or perfect. It simply was. The sound of their voices together filled the room, wrapping around the audience like a warm blanket. As they sang, memories flowed through Michael's mind. Late nights in the hospital. Emily asleep against his shoulder. The fear he never showed. He let all of it pour into the song. His voice trembled, but he did not stop. Emily watched her father as she sang. She knew how hard this was for him. She also knew why it mattered. Singing made her feel strong, not sick. On that stage, she was not a patient. She was a girl with a voice. Halfway through the song, something shifted. The room felt closer, as if everyone had leaned in together. People wiped their eyes. Some held hands. The song moved slowly, giving space for every feeling. Then came the gentle twist. The music softened even more, and Michael stopped singing. Emily continued alone. Her voice carried a new verse, one they had written together. It spoke of fear, yes, but also of courage. It spoke of fighting not with anger, but with love. It spoke of believing in tomorrow, even when today was hard. Michael looked at her in surprise. This was not planned. Emily met his eyes and smiled. She sang with quiet confidence, her small frame steady under the lights. The audience held its breath. When she finished the verse, Michael joined her again, his voice full and warm. Together, they sang the final chorus. Father and daughter. Strong and gentle. Broken and hopeful. As the last note faded, silence filled the room. It lasted longer than expected, heavy and meaningful. Then the audience rose as one. Applause rolled forward, loud and endless. Some people cried openly. Others smiled through tears. Michael hugged Emily tightly. She laughed softly into his shoulder. For a moment, nothing else existed. Later, as they stood backstage, Emily sat on a chair, tired but glowing. Michael knelt in front of her. "You were amazing," he said. "So were you," she replied. That night did not cure her illness. The days that followed still held treatments and hard moments. But something had changed. They carried that night with them. A reminder that even in pain, there could be beauty. Weeks later, Emily asked Michael to sing again, just the two of them, in her room. The sunlight streamed through the window. Michael sang softly, and Emily joined when she could. Her voice was weaker, but her eyes were bright. "Dad," she whispered after the song, "promise me something. Anything. Promise you'll keep singing, even when I'm not." Michael closed his eyes and nodded. "I promise." Emily smiled, peaceful and calm. In time, the seasons changed. The backyard grass grew again. Music still filled the house, sometimes joyful, sometimes sad, but always honest. Michael kept his promise. He sang, carrying Emily's voice with him. And whenever he sang that song, he remembered the stage, the lights, and the moment when a father and his cancer-fighting daughter stood together and reminded the world that love, when shared, can be stronger than fear.